Hello, I am James Pennington, the Executive Director of Back Bay Mission in beautiful Biloxi, Mississippi, on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. I am so excited to announce that this year, 2022, we turn 100 years young. And to celebrate our 100th anniversary and to prepare for our next 100 years of service, living into our mission of strengthening neighborhoods, seeking justice, and transforming lives, we are announcing a capital campaign. Our capital campaign will expand the services we currently have, but more importantly, help us to be sustainable for the next 100 years as we meet the needs of the most vulnerable here on the coast of Mississippi. Back Bay Mission has always been a nimble organization, not for profit, that's been responsive to the changing needs of those who are unsheltered or living in poverty. Now, the theme of the 100-year anniversary celebration and capital campaign is probably going to be something you recognize. It's, and I quote, Back Bay Mission making good trouble on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for 100 years. As you notice, it gives a nod to Representative John Lewis. I had an opportunity to meet John Lewis and interact with John Lewis for several days at the Veterans of the Mississippi Gulf Coast gathering that happens annually at Jackson State University and Tougaloo University, both historic black colleges in Jackson, Mississippi. Overall, I would say John Lewis is an incredibly resilient, dedicated, and wise man whose life was bookended by a walk across the Selma, Alabama bridge, the Pettus Bridge, in 1965 with Martin Luther King. And then 55 years later, in 2020, he walked again. Back Bay Mission began 100 years ago by providing shoes, education, clothing, Sunday school, food for refugees and migrants from Yugoslavia who were settling here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast and working in the seafood industry. They often came with nothing more than the clothing on their back or one suitcase of clothing and goods for their entire family. And the entire family, children included, were working in the shrimping and the oyster industry and making very poor wages and not a livable wage. Several churches that were connected with the current United Church of Christ saw the need and they responded to these Yugoslavian migrants. In 1963, Back Bay Mission was also a part of the third historic wade-in here in Biloxi to desegregate the beaches so the beaches could be enjoyed by all. Back Bay Mission facilities were also used by the NAACP and by other organizers throughout the coast here who were doing this good work of desegregation and racial equity. So Back Bay has an amazing, beautiful, deep, rich history. Back Bay has consistently been a creative influencer on the coast, and they've given birth to several other organizations such as Coastal Family Health, the Center for Nonviolence, Gulf Coast Housing Initiative, and the Mississippi AIDS Task Force, and currently Loaves and Fishes, which is now back on our campus as we're sharing resources. Started in response to Hurricane Camille in 1969, Back Bay Mission now has a dynamic rehabilitation program for the homes of those who are low income, who can't afford the repairs themselves, who need a home with a floor, with a roof. They do this in 4 counties. Generous volunteers like yourself from across the country come for a week or 2 weeks, sometimes just for a weekend. They volunteer to rehab homes for those who are living in poverty and can't afford to do it themselves. So the volunteers, our friends, they come and they learn building skills and rehab skills, and they volunteer at the Micah Day Center. They begin to understand also intellectually and emotionally the effects of poverty and racial inequities while staying here in our mission house at Back Bay. If you've never been, we invite you to come down and share some time with us here in Biloxi. Much of the work that we do is with those who are unsheltered or at risk of becoming homeless or unsheltered. Our Director of Client Services, Kenny Washington, and I quote, always says, "We are all one situation away from a situation." And that is so true. We provide services at the Micah Day Center for people who are unsheltered. There they can get their laundry done, they can take a shower, they can get a clean change of clothes, they can access the internet, they can access a case manager who helps connect them to the services they need to help them get off the streets and into supportive or permanent housing. The beautiful thing about Back Bay Mission is this, is we also meet the unsheltered where they are through our Home at Last program and through the Micah Day Center. Our case manager goes to the woods, to the beach, under bridges, wherever people who are unsheltered are, to bring necessary assistance and to bring them a hand up and not just a hand out. Our Home at Last program gives homeless and disabled individuals and their families supportive services and housing to get them off the streets, off the beach, or from under bridges. Back Bay Mission meets emergency needs and helps people begin their journey out of poverty. We have a client choice food pantry, which is unique. We also offer utility services to actually over 100 requests a day. Back Bay Mission's Bridges on a Poverty program offers a 2-year journey with a mentor who assists those individuals who are participating in the program of changing what we call kind of the poverty mindset so they can do more than just survive, but they can move to thriving. Our national campaign seeks to improve, certainly, or enhance current services that we offer for the most vulnerable among us. But we also hope to move Back Bay Mission as a historic not-for-profit to a place of increased sustainability. We will hopefully raise nearly $3 million to add a mental health and addiction navigator, to add a facilities manager for the next 5 years. And as the buildings in our campus are aging, we need to be good stewards of the 6 buildings we have. We need to keep those buildings safe and sound and well maintained. Our capital campaign will also give us an opportunity to upgrade our current Micah Day Center and both our facilities and our technologies. We'll install a generator to give us the ability to continue to function in the middle of hurricane and power outages. We'll be making updates to our buildings to assist us in becoming more environmentally sustainable with a focus on being greener and also cutting and reducing our utility costs. The Micah Day Center, which is this incredible caring refuge for our unsheltered and homeless friends, is also in need of rehab. Because when it was designed 15 years ago as a day center, it was really designed as a community center. So we're going to add more showers, office space, more services for our unsheltered friends to get out of the cold, to get out of the heat, and just find a compassionate place and meet with caring staff. In collaboration with several organizations that work with people who are living in poverty and the volunteers that come to us from across the country, we're planning on building tiny homes, just single-bedroom tiny homes as a transitional housing option for those who are living on the streets or living in bridges, living on the beach, who are not yet ready to move into traditional apartment living. And during that time in the tiny home, they'll be able to gain the necessary life skills they need to move into those more permanent, sustainable housing scenarios. As we move into our next 100 years, Back Bay Mission is seeking greater sustainability for our organization. We're hoping to enhance our underfunded and unfunded emergency assistance program. Our emergency assistance program, in essence, is a homeless prevention program, offering needed assistance through case management, giving individuals the skills to move from poverty to sustainability. We know that our 100-year anniversary campaign, it's aggressive, it's assertive. But we also know that through the generous support of you all who've given so much to us, we will continue to strengthen neighborhoods, we'll continue to seek justice, and we will continue to transform lives along the Mississippi Gulf Coast and make a difference in the lives of the over 1,000 volunteers who make that trek to Biloxi during the course of a year. So what is next for Back Bay Mission, we may ask? Much of that is up to you. It's up to me. It's up to our friends and supporters on the coast and throughout our country. Our vision is to become an even greater, brighter beacon of hope here on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi and throughout our nation. Our vision is to increase our work around equity and justice for those living in poverty and especially in communities of color who are most affected by income inequalities. It is our vision, obviously, to end homelessness in our lifetime. We try to do that with partnership with other not-for-profit and faith communities here on the coast. We're collaborating right now with over 20 organizations to develop a service-rich, one-stop center for homelessness and for those living in poverty. As we enhance and as we expand our services through staff and new creative initiatives, we know that we are transforming lives and bringing injustices to the forefront and to light. So I encourage you, my friends, to be a part of the change you want to see in the world. We appeal you to help us in this next 100 years to do more to transform lives and to strengthen neighborhoods. Some of you may be asking, why Biloxi when we have poverty in our own backyards? Back Bay Mission is a ministry that reaches far beyond the coast of Mississippi, into the lives of the many volunteers who call Biloxi and Back Bay Mission oftentimes their second home. And we invite you to experience that yourself. We're an example and a model for what can be done with a handful of staff and hundreds of volunteers who bring poverty and injustice to light for so many who call Back Bay Mission home. As Representative John Lewis crossed the Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama the last time in 2020, these are his words. He said,
We need to find a way to get in good trouble, necessary trouble, if we're going to save America.
We all know that we're living in an incredibly divided and polarized America. And now this is your chance to help us make good trouble, to make necessary trouble, and to bring redemption and justice to the souls and the spirits of the most vulnerable, and in turn, redeeming our own souls in the process, and hopefully redeeming the soul of America. Back Bay Mission, making good trouble on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for 100 years, 100 years, and beyond. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day.